Now, our next keynote speaker is a friend of mine from last year. We connected, Dr. Ali Tinazli. He's the CEO of Lifespin GmbH, and he's here to show us exactly how AI is redefining what's possible in healthcare. Now, just imagine treatments so precise that they are tailored to your unique biology. Generative AI isn't just a buzzword anymore. This is an absolute game changer. And Dr. Ali is here to tell us more. So please put your hands together for Dr. Tinazli.
Hello, good morning, everyone. When I got ready this morning, I thought that I have birthday because the last keynote I gave here was exactly on my birthday, actually, February 20th, which is pretty cool. And also thanks to the organizers. I really like this event. It's a great set of people, great form, so I appreciate the wonderful organization. And today I will actually show, at the end of my talk, a video for the first time to general public. So this will be the premiere. But so I will talk about a bit about technology, history, what is possible today with technology, what will be possible in a few years. So basically, let's get started. So personalized medicine is very important. And it started, I think, already about 200 years ago. The stethoscope, beautiful invention, made about 200 years ago in France, is the physician's most favorite tool. Why is that? You can use it on everyone. Doesn't matter if your patient is a child, is an adult, doesn't matter, a man or a woman. So basically, it's a general instrument for everything. Actually, it's beautiful, but it's also a bit funny. I'm teasing my physician friends while they are still walking with a 200 years old device around their neck. Quite funny when you think about it. And on the other hand, we are immersed by technology, amazing things. What we see as a technology convergence, we see now different pieces coming together. Also, when you go to pharma conferences, crazy stuff. You see lots of technology, not only drugs, but what you see is basically the combination of compute power, compute and biology, beautiful convergence. You digitize biological information. Then you have all the wonderful new in silico tools available. And this, I think, changes and will improve our understanding of biological complexity. The favorite example from nature I show, which we still don't understand, I think, is how a caterpillar transforms into a butterfly. Right? That's a great story for children, but no one really understands what's really happening. And what we know, I think, is that life is very complex, biology is very complex. Biology is a sum of multiple layers. You have the genome, you have the proteome, you have the metabolome, you have the microbiome, right? And the environment, the previous talk was a wonderful example of how important the environment actually is. But at the end of the day, it's a culmination of all of the above. And so on one end, we see today things are looking great, technology convergence, but there are things we don't understand. When we understand this better, then healthcare will be also more effective. When you look at the history of healthcare, it started, I think, in ancient times, right? Thousands of years ago, ancient Egypt, for example, which was quite phenomenal in the achievements they had, but I'm sure it was not accessible for everyone. So it was somewhat highly personalized, but also very exclusive. Then in the medieval age, medicine became more of a scientifically based discipline or some sort of an scientific art, let's put it this way. But again, access was highly limited. Then what we observe, I would say, in the last 100 years, most likely after World War II, is basically that there is a better standardization and industrialization of the quality of healthcare, right, which took place, but also which leads now, also driven by the aging demographics and the shortage of physicians, to an issue that the technology is great, but the technology is too expensive to make it applicable and available, accessible to everyone. That's a big issue. And for example, we are conducting right now a clinical study in Madagascar because we want to show that basically AI can make healthcare accessible also in ultra low resource areas. And the study will be completed in March. Can't wait to share the outcomes of that. But with that, we want to prove that Health 4.0 is something which can be fully democratized to a fully highly democratized access. Why is that? Because AI can make things really cheaper, less expensive, and important is to focus on prevention. And many physicians or the whole industry, when you look at healthcare, it's very old school. They say, oh, if you don't have a specific disease case, so there's no way to do anything. But that's very wrong. Prevention is extremely important. Prevention is a huge opportunity to basically shelter people from disease. And here, of course, the drivers here are basically IT-based tools, cloud-based tools to make basically formerly exclusive or very expensive health services available, accessible in a remote fashion, that it becomes really affordable and accessible for everyone. The key trends are basically convergence of technology, which is enabling that. Patients are more empowered and engaged, right? Not only internet resources, but also when you get treatment plans from your physician, you may question it when you ask ChatGPT, right? But that's not about ChatGPT, but just as an example, so people are more informed than compared to 50 years ago. Regulatory changes are taking place to become a bit more welcoming when it comes to AI-based solutions. And at the end of the day, it's really the combination of the healthcare field with the data science. So today's healthcare, as mentioned, is very reactive, symptom focused. You go to the physician because you are sick and only when you have specific pain points. But then again, the diagnosis depends on the opinion or the experience of the physician, can be also completely wrong, right? That's why you always want to take a second opinion if you have a delicate issue, and then it becomes really expensive. And what we are working on is basically to make healthcare information accessible. What we do is basically extracting health information out of the human blood sample, so to say. And with this information, healthcare will be proactive and hypothesis-free because we have a comprehensive health assessment, health profiling software we are developing. We have now about 250,000 human patients in our database, and we have now started our commercial launch. So once it gets basically millions of people, it will be also automatically more and more precise. And important is the affordability and accessibility. So the opportunity basically is to make personalized medicine, precision medicine, highly accessible, also because of the cost structure. Now, when you look at this type of dashboard, which covers about approximately 10 different health areas, you basically see inflammation, which is always a big topic, energy, metabolism, liver health, kidney health. Liver and kidney together are very interesting in the context of health, of NASH or other systemic diseases. Inflammation at the root cause of all evil, I would say, which can trigger diabetes, for example, neurological health, cardiovascular health, they all play together. Insulin resistance, even I was quite amazed that even in a Vogue magazine from this year, March, there was an article about insulin resistance. That's a great sign. So when you find these type of articles in Vogue magazine, that's beautiful because that means it becomes really now something of public awareness and all the other areas basically. Now, so the value of this, if you would do this type of health assessment with today's legacy methods, this would cost about $1,000 or $1,500 if you do it once. Ideally, you would like to do this monthly or quarterly, but most people wouldn't be able to do that. Actually, I have the privilege of doing this actually monthly for myself. But how much do you think does it cost to get this information with our system? So then let him ask you, how much do you pay for that? That's a pizza margarita, the cheapest pizza, always what I eat. Because if the pizza maker is good, the pizza margarita is fully satisfying. How much does this cost? €10, $10. exactly like this one I had in Hong Kong for $12, pretty decent, so even in Hong Kong. And that's exactly the cost of digitizing a patient profile from a blood sample with our platform, which of course makes it suitable for prevention, to make it really as part of routine checkup medicine. Because if it's not expensive, now the cost is $10, seat price maybe $100, but still very affordable compared to legacy methods. Diagnosis is a wild field, so we have studies in the field of oncology and neurology. We have all the examples, but they're more anecdotal, where we can see depression because it changes also the metabolism, basically. But again, that's more anecdotal. But again, diagnosis is a very exciting field we are tackling. But then also treatment. The beauty of treatment monitoring is, you know, the patient is already sick, right, has a certain disease. So the only thing you have to do is you have to see, does the treatment improve the patient's well-being or not, right? Which basically in cancer is very sad, because I would say half of the chemotherapies are not really working instantly or not at all. So basically there's huge room of, plenty of room for improvement. And we are basically working exactly on these opportunities to combine blood measurement. What we do is we measure blood with an NMR. You all may be aware of MRT. MRT is imaging body organs, body parts. NMR has a 5 times stronger magnetic field. It's imaging molecules, chemical molecules, highly quantitatively. That means what we do is we scan a blood sample, which takes about 5 minutes. Then we process the raw data with our proprietary software, and then we compile the human profile based on that. I will show more examples how we do it, and which actually is a huge market. So basically, if you are successful in growing the market, establishing it in this field, then you're talking basically about a $400 billion opportunity. When you operate this as a cloud business, so we have actually finished our cloud portal, then the gross margins are amazing, obviously. We start the business in Asia Pacific. But first, let's talk about the scientific foundation of what we are really doing. So you are all aware of the genome, right? Human genome, first time was fully sequenced in the 1997. That's when I graduated at high school. And genome is beautiful. The challenge of the genome is it gives you the information about the potential of a certain disease outbreak. For example, you may learn that you have a higher likelihood of developing Parkinson's, for example, at the age of 70 plus again. But the issue is, first, you cannot do something about it. Second, it doesn't tell you if you really have it or if you will have it. So it's just a matter of probability. When you then look at the transcriptome liquid biopsy, widely used now, especially in oncology, but downside is very expensive, and the information is more about what should happen. So if you look at pharmacogenomics, although there are quite some discrepancies with the expectations. What is much, much better is looking at the proteins, the proteome level. The proteome gives you already a quite accurate picture of the physiological state of the health condition. The downside of the proteome is very expensive. So one proteomic test per person costs about $1,000. Again, the issue is it's great, but very expensive, too expensive to make it available for routine use in checkup medicine. So what we are looking at actually is the metabolism. So all living beings have metabolism, basically all the processes, all the biochemical processes. And what we do is basically capture quantitatively hundreds of metabolites from a human blood sample, which is altogether called the metabolome. And the metabolome mirrors the actual health status of the patient or the individual, who is not a patient, hopefully. And this information layer, so look at it like a phone book or like a Google for health. Now, this information layer of the metabolome now can be used for different questions, depends on what you ask for. If you want to use it in the context of checkup medicine, then it can be used in preventive care. If you use it in the context of disease diagnosis, Depends, you can ask for the presence of specific diseases, or it can be used in the context of treatment. And whatever I'm saying may sound perhaps too good to be true, but we have actually numerous clinical studies ongoing. We are based in Germany, so we work with many European hospitals, and we have numerous clinical studies. But basically, the market is first of all ready for the preventive care products, which we are launching now, followed by diagnostics and treatment. Because it's very important to build the market awareness, to educate the industry also that it's something new. And when you have something new in healthcare, you have to really talk a lot about it, that people really understand it and accept it, because it's real. What's also quite interesting is one of our board members is a Nobel laureate, Jim Rothman from Yale University. He got the Nobel Prize in 2013. He is also supporting our thesis that almost all diseases are linked to the metabolism. It means once you have information from the metabolism, you have immediate access to the health status. You cannot get closer to disease. Now, what we're doing when you compare to legacy methods. In a legacy method, you basically get a blood sample, right? And then 5 ml or 10 ml, and then you have to partition the sample. It's a tedious process, quite expensive, order many errors because you have many pipetting steps. So basically you have a complicated wet lab. It has a high error rate. Labs don't talk about it, but actually all the pipetting steps, even when they are automated, are actually quite erroneous, right? But they don't like to talk about it, and then you need different workflows to access different types of information, and it's really takes time and or money, and it's not simultaneous. That means you cannot really compare the concentration obtained with method 1 to the concentration obtained with method 2, because they've been separated from the sample. In our case, you take 0.5 milliliter of blood, can be plasma or serum sample. You don't need to partition it. You add sample buffer, and then you immediately capture it with an NMR, nuclear magnetic resonance. Now, the error is low for 2 reasons. The workflow is simple, only 2 pipetting steps. Second, it's a physical method. We don't label. What we do is, in a magnetic field, we look at the protons of the molecules. It's a purely physical method. That's why it has a high precision and is fast. And the data are being collected simultaneously. That means for all the different constituents, you obtain the concentration information immediately. Here, just a small example of the precision. So we are based in Germany. In order to qualify as a clinical lab, you have to match the really big guidelines. That's a lab called the guideline. And here 2 examples. We did this for many metabolites, but basically we have been always spot on with the actual concentration, which we didn't know before. That was a round-robin test against 500 labs. Not against, but with 500 labs. And so basically, you see there's quite a bit of variation. And officially allowed are, I think, 20% deviation. So quite a bit, actually, which may make you wonder if someone is, for example, at a borderline of a certain threshold. You may be still perfectly healthy, but exceed the threshold because of the measurement errors with the legacy methods. So basically, what we are doing is, once we have collected the data from the blood sample, we build the digital twin. Just as a recap, what we have is a cyber physical system. It transforms the analog blood sample into a digital blood sample enabled by NMR. And we have built now a proprietary biobank with now more than 240,000 human data sets. And now we are building basically different algorithms, different software models to use this as an in silico health test. So basically, our system has seen so far about 700 diseases from 240,000 profiles, which is still growing, but we first wanted to start with healthy people because the question is, what is healthy? Because when I compare a 20-year-old healthy female, looks very different compared to a 60-year-old healthy male. For example, when I'm 46 years old, so when I get my blood test done in my company, then my values are compared against male in the 40s to really have a apple-to-apple comparison. So basically, my digital twin is compared to the other twins in the database in my age decade. Now, what we do? And so we basically have the blood sample entering our database, and then we basically do all sort of dice and slice. That's the overview of our partners. We have also most recently published with the Charité Hospital. That's our most recent publication on neurological use cases to basically use these methods for neurological disease identification, such as neurological diseases like Alzheimer's or Parkinson's. And here's our workflow. We basically have a simple process here. Once the blood sample is being measured and digitized, you just have a 10 megabytes file for patients. You can even WhatsApp it. I mean, there are cybersecurity issues which are important, but so basically it's a very small data set, easy to upload to our cloud. Then it's being processed. We build the patient profile, which is the digital twin. Then you get a specific health report that's basically also ISO certified pathway. Then you upload basically our partner hospitals upload the Spectra to our cloud. Then you can basically pick the type of test you want to run. Then you get the report after about 10 minutes. So what's happening in the cloud? We obtain here the spectra, which gives you first a quite boring list of metabolites and their concentration. Then we do the decoding. That's part of our proprietary algorithms, obviously, which then allows you to draw conclusions in the context of healthcare. So here we are building basically our own transform models. So, and here just as an example, like we don't use ChatGPT, but it's a good way to explain it to people. ChatGPT is good with dealing human language. Our model is good with dealing with the language of the spectra, which then gives us basically translate the spectral information immediately into health information. That's basically what we are working on. And how do the results look like on a deeper layer? Here you see a list of close to 100 metabolites. Green obviously is within the healthy range, which is fine. And then kidney failure looks like this. Hypercholesteremia, stroke looks like this. Now, what exactly are we looking at? When you look at stroke, for example, you basically look at different patterns which are changing. But so basically you get a general health report, and then you see which metabolites are kind of out of range, and then you basically get the readout of this information, what it means, and this based on our own proprietary models. And then basically these models can be used for different purposes, which can be fine-tuned to specific tasks. And the specific task could be look out for stroke. Basically, you want to see if a patient has stroke or any other disease. And comparing healthy people against stroke patients is very easy. So the AUC value is close to 1. That means absolute certainty. But then migraine is a quite interesting case. Quite a few women who actually suffer from stroke are being misdiagnosed with migraine, which is obviously quite a bad thing, because then they get on a complete wrong treatment track. Or for example, Parkinson's disease versus stroke. Parkinson patients in the first year have very similar symptoms to stroke patients, so it can be really mixed up. But with our algorithms, we can basically differentiate these type of differences in the metabolism, because what we see are reproducible quantitative changes in the metabolism. And this refers to the paper which we published actually with the Charité Hospital. It's published already, have to update this. But what actually do we see? Your eyes are perfectly fine, don't worry about that. I just changed it for IP reasons. What you see is basically a list of metabolites in this specific change. And this list is basically proprietary, which shows you basically what type of metabolites or patterns or samples of metabolites are changing in a disease-dependent fashion. But now, let's watch a movie. Do we have our audio on? Does the audio work? Okay, great.
LifeSpin,
Now sit back,
the
relax.
health data revolution. LifeSpin only needs 0.5 milliliters of blood. LifeSpin takes only one measurement for all tests. The NMR instrument is the interface between the physical and digital world. The patient's metabolomic information is being captured in one single scan using radio frequencies. LifeSpin software engine extracts hundreds of clinical parameters from this data, generating the metabolomic digital twin of the patient. This digital twin is then compared to a vast database of human profiles. A personalized health compass is generated, showing your health status across numerous conditions. This data is summarized in a detailed health report, offering insights into prevention, diagnostics, and treatment of diseases. But LifeSpin's vision for deep health extends far beyond the present, shaping the future of healthcare innovation. We are developing an AI foundation model that will have a deep understanding of NMR spectra, similar to how advanced language models comprehend text, and specifically trained transformer models will analyze all possible health conditions simultaneously, forming an omni-intelligent health software. LifeSpin empowers you with detailed, actionable insights. Complex health data is transformed into accessible, affordable, personalized health information. LifeSpin, enabling personalized medicine for all.
Don't forget the cost. It's very important. Again, think of the pizza. Right, and because the concept here is actually we have discussions with large organizations, but using this actually in checkup medicine to use it on large population-wide screenings, which is quite exciting actually. And our business model is a software as a service model. We basically work with healthcare providers. So this is not for consumers, just to get it right. That's for healthcare providers because you always want to have a physician in between. That's very important, especially at the beginning of new technologies. And then you basically feed the raw data into our cloud and then process it, generate the digital twin, and then you get precision health information. That's what we get, our euros and dollars. The beauty of that is, once you have the patient profile digitally available, you can use different types of algorithms because think of an algorithm like a conventional test. You can basically test for the presence of specific disease. That means when you get a blood sample in from a patient, you test it, let's say, for general health assessment, and let's see there's an area of concern, perhaps the liver turns on red or orange. Then you can activate order another algorithm which looks, for example, for the presence of different liver diseases, alcoholic liver or fatty liver, right? Then you can differentiate basically with another set of algorithms like an in-app purchase on your iPhone. Basically, if it has a specific condition or has NASH, basically, this is a great opportunity to have numerous payment events per blood sample, per patient, but don't forget, it's in general low cost, so think of microservices. And we basically now work with quite a few hospitals in Asia Pacific because our objective is, and they are hospitals which have already the NMR instruments, so basically our objective is to enable hospitals, laboratory partners to make this of right use. What's our vision? So I started with a health assessment dashboard with about 10 indications, but we have also programs or will start programs basically which are ranging from prenatal to neonatal to age and longevity. We actually work on a health score because if you are at a good health, that means that your aging is slow. If you are in a bad health condition, it means that your aging is faster. And now one of our internal R&D programs are to weight different factors, different metabolic factors, to have basically one number, because people like to have a number. What's your health, right? Is it 39? Is it 99? Or is it 1? Then very big topic, but totally underrepresented is mental health, because certain things you can measure. We didn't do it because we are a startup, we are still at the beginning, but there are great opportunities in mental health. Neurological health, we started already. Cardiovascular, obviously, it's a great use case because it's of wide importance. Oncology is, it's of course, always a big topic. But again, these gray fields will be addressed subsequently because it's a difference because there's a big difference because you see sometimes academic papers with a 40 patient study which means nothing to me, to be honest. What you need is always large studies with 10,000 people. Only then you can really make a commercial product. That's why I'm a bit conservative and cautious with my statements, because I speak only about the studies where we have 10,000 of people or more. Right? So basically, yeah, that's it. Thank you very much. It's easy to find me. And so based in Germany, but traveling actually too much. But I'm here today and tomorrow. Great to catch up in the breaks. Thank you very much.